Welcome to the knotenkopp podcast. My name is Johanna and we're back at a regular episode. I'm feeling better and I hope this is not going to be that chaotic as the last episode. Yeah, I think in retrospect the last episode wasn't the best idea, but I wasn't aware that I had already COVID. Yes, if you haven't seen my knitting podcast before, I talk here about my knitting. My name is Johanna. I live in the north of Germany and I talk about my finished objects in knitting and what I am currently working on and what I'm planning and thinking about the knitting world in these knitting YouTube videos, and a little bit about my life as well. I do an extensive show notes description box, so if you want to check that out, do that as well. You can also find me on Instagram under the same handle, knotenkopp, and yeah, I think that's all you need to know. And I also put in chapters, so if you're not interested in my little life update, you can skip ahead to the finished objects and I see you there. I think I try to keep this short. Basically, after the last episode, or the thing you saw in the last episode, I tried to go to Berlin. That actually I cut out of that information I cut out of the video, and on my way to Berlin I had a layover of an hour and I tested myself on the train station because I was feeling more sick with the minute, and I found out that I had COVID and I took immediately the next train back. Luckily enough, I was wearing the whole time a mask, even though it is not mandatory here anymore. Still, it was a shitty feeling because the train was packed and no one else was wearing a mask, and I was worried the whole time that I was getting someone else sick. And obviously I was feeling not good and wasn't in a state that I should travel, but I made it home safe and went into quarantine immediately. And yeah, I stayed basically at home and on my sofa for 2 weeks. My symptoms weren't really that bad. Basically, I've been therefore sick the whole February, 4 weeks all in all, which hasn't been great, to be honest. I haven't been that sick for a really long time, but I'm in a good mood now, so we are over it and it's in the past. And I have to say the worst thing about my 2 weeks of COVID weren't actually the COVID symptoms, but I actually got myself, in German we call it Hexenschuss. I looked it up in English. There isn't the same term really. You just call it lower back pain, or I think the medical term is lumbago. You immediately get a really painful, really immediate pain in your lower back, and you basically can't move. You can't move backwards, you can't move forwards, you can't do anything. You can't stand up, you can't lay down, you can't sit down, you can't go to the toilet, you can't do anything. And I got this the day I got back from my attempt to go to Berlin, and that also meant I couldn't knit because I couldn't sit. And for a few days I could just lie on my bed, and that sucked because that was really boring. And but it got better after a few days, and then I was able to knit, and that meant a lot of productive knitting time. COVID sucks, quarantine sucks, but I am lucky enough that I don't have any responsibilities and I am not a risk patient or anything, so I was lucky enough that I could just sit on my couch, get healthy and knit for 2 weeks, and that meant a lot of progress for my knitting, and yeah, I have a lot to show for that. So yeah, and since then I've been working for a week now and feeling great. Also, I mean, we have been having snow for the last few days, so we can't really say that it's been spring here, but for me it feels kind of like spring, because I went on holiday, or went into quarantine, and it was like proper February weather, and it was really still being dark, and then I came back and it was like getting light, and now it's like there's like light at 7 o'clock in the morning in my apartment, and when like even at 6 o'clock in the evening there's light in my apartment, so it feels like a spring awakening for me. And so yeah, I'm in a really good mood, even though we have snow outside and it's cold, and we have like some flowers are blooming, so there's a little bit of spring, but yeah, I'm in a really good mood nonetheless. But I'm also feeling that I'm the only one who's in a good mood, caused by the weather. Everyone else is still like really still in the winter depression. But yeah, because for me it's still like everything is quite new. It feels like I'm living here already for a very long time, because I think I'm getting used to places quite fast. But obviously I've only been living here in the dark months, and seeing this place in a new season is really exciting for me. So yeah, I'm in a really good mood. And I'm also in a good mood because I finally finished some objects that have been on my needles for months. So that also means I can finally cast on new things. So let's get into my knitting. Finished objects. So I don't know how much B-roll I need to put into here. I haven't planned this out yet, but we will see. So the first thing I will shortly talk about is my red beanie. I talked about this in my last episode already. Yeah, I had this finished already, but it was way too short, and I ripped it, or I forked it until the decreases, and then added 2.5 centimeters again, and then started the decreases again. I added basically length, and now it fits, and yeah, I really like it. I'm also wearing it with the sweater I knitted last autumn or end of summer, which was the reason why I started knitting this beanie, because this jumper or sweater was the reason why I decided I needed a red beanie or a colorful beanie, because all my beige sweaters, they don't really look good with all my beige beanies. So I thought, okay, actually I need a pop of color, and I really love it. It's looking great and I'm in love with it. I've been wearing the red beanie every day at work, and actually I'm amazed because the red beanie fits to nearly everything in my wardrobe, because I have nothing red in my wardrobe basically. It doesn't, I think with my summer wardrobe it's going to be a little bit different, because I have a lot of yellow in my wardrobe, and I don't think the red does look so good with the yellow. But with all my blues, I have a lot of navy, or a lot of, I think all of the color palette of blue I have, all of the colors of gray and beige, and I think everything looks good with that. And so yeah, and I think it looks good with my hair color and my complexion. So yeah, I'm really happy with that red beanie. It's a mix of self-drafted patterns and board bed patterns, and yeah, if you want to know more, check out my last podcast episode if you haven't watched that. But yeah, I'm really happy with it, though I have to say, and I'm really surprised by that, it is knit with Sunday by Sandnes Garn. It is kind of scratchy on my forehead, which is surprising because it is merino, and I think Sandnes Garn, Sunday by Sandnes Garn is one of the yarns that is always talked about as a very soft yarn. I mean, it's not super washed or anything, but it is a very soft yarn, and if I touch it, it feels soft to my hand as well. But I think my forehead is by far the most sensitive area. Definitely more sensitive than my chest area, because I have a t-shirt, the coloring book tee, knitted also in Sunday by Sandnes Garn, and I don't mind it touching my chest area, but I definitely notice myself moving the head sometimes away from my forehead because it bothers me a little bit. And it is already blocked twice, so maybe I need to block it a third time with hot water. But it could also be that I'm just a little bit too sensitive on my forehead. That also, it could be, because the only two store-bought hats that I owned and own, one I lost, one was H&M, and I had it already for 10 years, and it was like a deluxe collection or something, and it was 100% cashmere, and I sadly lost it. And another one is from Arcade, and it is yak, and it has like a wild combination of different things. It has also some polyamide wool, but it has a huge yak content, and it is very, very soft. It feels like cashmere as well. Then I have the hat that I knitted myself last autumn, which is Semilla Melange BC Garn, which is interesting because this is wool, and you would think that just general wool would be more scratchy than merino, but somehow it's not. I don't know. I don't know. This is woolen spun, so maybe that's the reason. Maybe the way it's spun. And I also think this is very soft. It's also what I said after knitting my halibut sweater, that I think especially for a rustic looking, because I think it has the rustic vibe, but it is very soft to the touch. Yeah, I don't know. I think I wouldn't knit a hat again with the Sunday yarn, and I wouldn't recommend it for someone who knows who's sensitive on their forehead. And I think I might, for the next winter season, I think I might try out the Knitting for Olive cashmere yarn. And I think I need to maybe upgrade my yarn supply for hats, which isn't, I think it doesn't bother me that much, because you need not a lot for hats. And I think also the hat, I wear my hats quite a lot, and I think it's also an area where I'm open to trying out more expensive yarns. Obviously I wouldn't knit a sweater with cashmere. I think that's just, I don't think it's necessary. I don't need such a bougie sweater, but I think with my sensitive forehead this might be necessary. So yeah, my red beanie, and I think I'm really liking the color, and I will get to that later. Which is surprising, because like I said in my last podcast episode, I'm not a red fan usually. So yeah, that was my first finished or refinished object. My next finished object, and I'm so happy that it's finished. It's because I think it is by far the object or the project that was by far the longest on my needles, and it is the cardigan number 4 for the birthday gift. And I don't know how well you can see this. Maybe I need to go back. Yeah, I think it's all in frame now. And it's blowing out like crazy, I think. Or maybe this is the color. I don't even know how I want to post this on Instagram, because taking pictures of this cardigan is pointless because the color doesn't even transport on pictures. I need to color correct it so much and the quality is miserable. But I think on video it kind of is all right. So yeah, this is my cardigan, the first cardigan number 4. Actually, this is the nicer sleeve. So yep, and these are the buttons. And yeah, so this is a huge cardigan because it's not for me. My friend I'm gift knitting this for is nearly 30 centimeters taller than me. And I hope, because I don't know when I'm editing this video and posting this, and I'm seeing my friend in a week and giving this to her, and she has no clue that she's getting this, and I'm hoping that she will model this for me, or at least will allow me to take pictures, and then I will insert them here, so you will actually see them on the body of the person who this is made for. Otherwise I will take pictures or a video clip of me wearing this, because I can fit it as well. It's just not made for me, but it works. So I think I knit this in size small. I think I blocked this exactly to the measurements of a 116 centimeter bust, but I made the sleeves and the body length, I think, to the biggest size, because yeah, my friend, she's 1 meter 38 centimeters tall. We always call her the baby giraffe because she has like such long body parts. She's like huge, and she's very thin as well. Like yeah, she has basically body parts like a model. So yeah, I thought, okay, I need to have like very long cardigan. And so yeah, I hope this will fit. But also I think because it's all made out of alpaca with a thread of silk in it, but I think even if it's a little bit too small, I think it will hang out, it will grow even more with wearing. But I think with blocking it grew a lot. But I knew that, I was expecting that. And I think especially because these are balloon arms, if they grow more, it won't hurt the cardigan. I think it will look even cooler, because yeah, I think the purpose of balloon arms is that they will drape over the cuff. I think this is the cuff or the ribbing. So I think if they get bigger or longer, I think this will actually add to the look. So I'm not worried about that. So yeah, but I'm so glad that this is done, because I think I don't want to say I hate knitting cardigans, because I think I'm not done knitting cardigans. I still want to try out a few cardigans, because I think the ones I knitted, I think the circumstances weren't that fortunate. I think with this one, the half fisherman's rib and the yarn were really unfortunate. And so there are a few other combinations I want to try with other patterns and with other yarns that I might more enjoy. But what I really enjoyed was ordering the buttons, and I think I will insert the picture of all of the button choices I ordered, and I talked about it shortly on my last podcast episode, I was originally planning yellow buttons, but they weren't working out at all. And I ordered all of the buttons through Etsy, through different shops, but no, did I order them through different shops? No, in the end I ordered them all from the Bold Coat or Bold Cat. I will link her Etsy shop down below. I don't know if she only ships in Germany, because I only looked through shops based in Germany, because I wanted to support a local based and shop, and I also wanted to save some money through shipping. And she had lovely options. And yeah, I ordered 3 different sets of buttons because I couldn't decide, basically. And even when they arrived, I still couldn't decide, which is very untypical for me, because I'm usually the person in restaurants that always can decide first. And yeah, but they were all lovely, and I think they were all giving lovely vibes with the cardigan. And in the end, I did a poll on Instagram, and you guys couldn't decide either, so that wasn't really helpful. But thanks anyway for letting me know what you guys liked. I found it really interesting. And yeah, so, but I decided in the end to go with these buttons, to have like this yeah, black core, and then they have like these glittery outer edge. And I think yeah, I think all in all they are like more statement buttons, because the other ones, the silver ones, I really like them as well. I found them more interesting, I think, on their own, but I think they were too similar to the pale sage cardigan, and I wanted the buttons to pop more. I wanted them to be more of a statement, so that was the reason why I decided to go with this. And I'm so happy with this cardigan. I wore it actually after finishing it and blocking it for, I don't know, an hour, just to see how it fitted and stuff. And this is totally not my style. I would never knit myself a fluffy half fisherman's rib balloon sleeve cardigan, but damn, it's so cozy. It's, oh my god, I was so amazed by it, and I was seriously considering if I need such a cozy cardigan in my life, but no way I'm knitting this thing again. But yeah, I hope she likes it, but I mean, I think this is not my style and not my color and not anything I would wear, and it doesn't fit my wardrobe, and I was even considering if I want to keep it. So I think she's going to like it. So yeah, because I think, I mean, I think it's too nice not to wear it out, but I think I just imagine myself on a Sunday afternoon chilling on my couch in this cardigan. It's just lovely. It's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really curious how it suits her and how it's looking, and yeah, it's a cloud. Let's continue. My next finished object I can't show you because it's lying next to me on my Wäscheständer. What is it called? Like the thing where you hang your clothes for drying, but obviously it's not hanging, but it's lying because it's blocking. It's my Bauhaus sweater, or like it's based on the Marseille sweater pattern by PetiteKnit. Yeah, I finished it last night, blocked it, and it's drying, and I hope I can actually wear it to work tomorrow, which would be great. Yeah, I will definitely insert some b-roll the next days when I will wear it, and then you will see how it fits. And I'm actually really happy with it. I think the Järbo Tr Ull, which is the main yarn, the silver melange grayish yarn is really interesting, because I mean, I knitted it quite big, or I actually knitted to the measurements I wanted it, so I knew that I didn't want it to block out massively in comparison to my other garments, which I usually stretch quite a lot. And I'm looking over there because it's lying there. And I already knew, because I knit a little swatch and blocked it, that the Järbo wool isn't really growing that much, which is interesting because it's 100% wool. But and usually my experience was that wool grows or is very stretchy. And also with blocking this garment, I mean, I probably could have stretched it more if I wanted to, but it is definitely not that wobbly or doesn't. For example, the halibut sweater, which is knit with a woolen spun yarn, was very stretchy. Like you could definitely stretch it to the dimensions you wanted, but this one wasn't that formable. Like you couldn't form it to the dimension you wanted. It was more fixed to the dimension you knitted it, which I found really interesting, like the differences in yarn. And I don't know if this was worsted spun. I couldn't find that information. It was definitely two-plied, and you could see the plies, so it was very strongly plied, and the woolen spun wasn't plied. So yeah, that's interesting. Also, I think it's going to be very, very warm because it is a sport weight. You knit it on 3.5mm needles, and I held it with a silk mohair and still knit it on 3.5mm needles. So I think it's going to be a very dense fabric and very warm, which is great. Also, I mean, I tried it on before blocking and during the knitting process, and the way I knitted it and the way my Marseille sweater from the summer before, because I knitted it before, is a very sweatshirty look, like my sweatshirts, like the ones you do sports with, the ones I go running with. And I really like that look. It gives me a sporty look, and usually that's not my vibe, but with this one I think it's really cool, because on one hand you have like this more rusticy looking earthy wool, and then you have like this cut of this sporty sweatshirt. Yeah, so I'm really interesting. And obviously I love the scrappy color projects in the sleeves and at the ribbing, and yeah, so I think I will have a lot of use of it, and I think it's going to be very warm, which is something I really, really need here. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I'm curious how the Järbo Tr Ull is going to wear, because it is quite a scratchy wool, I would say. Obviously it's not super rustic wool. I think there are definitely more rustic wools on the market, but for me, with the wools I knitted so far, it is definitely probably the most rustic ones. So yeah, I need to see how it feels for me for the long term, because especially since I bought wool for the porcelain, I bought the same wool for the porcelain sweater, so I hope I will like it, because otherwise I have this sweater amount for the porcelain sweater, and in the end I don't like to wear it. That would be really, really sad. Next up is works in progress, because that was all of my finished objects, but I feel this is quite a lot because I finally finished 2 big garments, and one of them was obviously on my needles for 4 months, but yeah, it was a huge undertaking because it was not for my body size, and I finished other big garments during that one, and Okay, the Bauhaus, I don't even know when I started that. Did I do that in December or January? I don't know. I forgot that. I don't put in the dates when I start projects. I can just recreate it when I watch my podcast episodes again. But yeah, it feels good because I think maybe just in my mind, but these two were kind of have been, I don't know, have been dragging along for a long time. So, and even though the Bauhaus sweater I enjoyed a lot, I'm still glad that there's an end to it now and I can wear it. And there's, yeah, especially with spring coming, even though I'm not a huge spring summer knitter, but there's space on my needles for new things. So, but we are still not done with cardigan number 4 because I still have to finish the one for my sister. But thanks to quarantine, I'm so glad I made huge progress in it. And I think I wouldn't have made the deadline for my sister without the quarantine, I have to say, because I think I cut that out last time, but I promised her, because next weekend to have it finished for her, because yeah, in 1 week I'm not only seeing the friend for the sage colored one, but also my sister, and I promised her to have it finished for her as well. So, but ta-da! We have a finished body, and I'm so proud of myself, because the body is the hardest part, as I said last time as well. The sleeves are done quite fast because you're knitting in the round and not back and forth, and I'm so happy. Yeah, I think you can see the colors quite, oh no, it's blurring out quite badly, but here you can see the color changes quite well. Weirdly enough, I have a hole here, and I have the same hole on the other one as well. I stitched it up on the other one, and I will do the same here as well. But yeah, the color changes are amazing on this one, especially like in the back. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I think you can see it here. Like if you see it all, it's blurry. I don't know, it's blurring out a little bit, but someone wrote me it looks like a cloud behind the rainbow, and it really is, and it is like, it is so fluffy. So yeah, and since I'm gifting it to her next week, I said, oh shit, I need buttons. And since I discovered my love for browsing and ordering buttons, I went again on Etsy and shopped vintage buttons, because yeah, I really liked the idea of vintage buttons, and she wanted, I looked it up, and it says mother of pearl buttons, and in German we would say Perlmutt buttons, but yeah, it's said the translation is mother of pearl buttons. And I think, yeah, I think it will suit the cardigan quite well, because it has also this fluorescent shiny thing, and yeah, it's very girly, and yeah, I think it fits perfect, and also it's the style of my sister. So though I ordered from a different online shop, and yeah, I found these, I can't show them, these buttons, all of them, I think, I don't know how big the dot, oh yeah, all of them are 2.5 or 25 millimeters or 2.5 centimeters. So yeah, I think maybe I can show them on the cardigan, not on the button band, but so they will look like that depending on the light. But they have like on excuse me, they have on one side this like they're not flat on one side, on the other side they are flat. And I think the flattest side looks kind of nicer, but the other side, I think it's supposed to be the right side. So if you see that, I can't go too close because then I think they are not focused anymore. But these are more shiny and this is more matte. I'm not sure which one I'm going to sew on. But yeah, I think like browsing on Etsy vintage buttons is my new hobby. my guilty pleasure. Yeah, but I think for ordering more buttons I need to also knit more cardigans. So this is like kind of a dilemma if I don't really enjoy knitting cardigans. Because what should I do with all these buttons then? So yeah, but I think I mean, where's the button band? This is the button band. I'm not really good at showing this, but I think, yeah, you can see like they are the same reflecting fluorescent, multi-dimensional, multicolored theme going on, and I think it's perfect. So yeah, this is happening. I also shortened the cardigan because I put down the whole dimensions on the sage colored one, how much everything grew, and adapted the rainbow colored one for my sister, because my sister tried on the sage colored one before blocking and it fitted her perfectly, so I knew after blocking it would be too big. So I hope my calculations are right, and after shortening this one it will have the same dimensions of the sage colored one before blocking. I don't know if this makes sense, but let's hope for the best. And if this one is finished, I'm so glad, because then I have no half fisherman's rib projects anymore on my needles. And yeah, I think I don't see any half fisherman's rib projects for this year coming, even though the finished object is beautiful. But yeah, I think I need a break, a long break, a very long break. Yeah, so that's that. And though I have a cardigan planned in autumn, but it is a very different pattern. Yeah, next up is a very enjoyable knit. It feels like, I don't know, healing for my soul, for my knitting soul after all of this. So because I made so much progress during quarantine, and I finished the body of my sister's cardigan, I allowed myself to cast on the next birthday present, and which is the striped overload polo for the February birthday girl. Like I said, I'm always behind with all the gift knitting, but that's all right. I'm not pressuring myself to be on time anymore, but we are just enjoying knitting them, and they don't know that they're getting that anyway, so it's all right. So let me show where I am, and then I will talk about the process of knitting this. I was hoping to split for sleeves and body already, but I needed to prioritize a little bit. So this is where we are. It's blurring out a little bit. This is more true to color here. Not really. So it is more darker green, I would say. Maybe I will insert a picture of the real color. And yeah, I'm still in the raglan increases, and the striped overload polo is by Spectacle Strick, and usually it is, like I said, like the name says, a striped polo sweatshirt. I ditched the stripes and was originally planning to do like stripes in the what is this called, in the collar, but I also ditched that idea. I was getting that idea from the Fred Perry polo shirts, but I wasn't really sure if my friend was really into it that much, that she wants a whole sweater jumper in it. So I went by the safe side and just made it in just plain green, and I'm really happy with it. This is knitting up so fast. It's such a pleasure to knit, and I can just recommend it. And I'm just really regretting that I'm not just knitting for every one of my friends. Raglan, plain raglan stockinette sweatshirt, sweater on 5mm needles, because this feels like therapy after all of these half fisherman's whip, fluffy, complicated thingies, and this is just flying off my needles. I mean, in the beginning you have to knit you start with the collar, which I wouldn't say it's complicated. The cast on for the cardigan number 4, that's complicated. This isn't complicated. It is more so that the instructions of Spektakelstrikk aren't the I wouldn't say aren't the best, aren't the most extended one. No, that's not the right word. She could describe them more in detail, let's say it. And also I was struggling in what language I should get them, because she has them in English and in German, and when there are 2 options, I never know in what language I should order them, because yeah, obviously I can knit them in both languages, and you couldn't order them in both. You wouldn't get them in both languages when you buy them. And I mean, I knit usually in English, so I ordered it in English. But sometimes it does make sense, especially with Scandinavian designers, to get the German pattern, because the Scandinavian languages are closer to German, to the German language, and often I think the English translation lacks sometimes, and in this case it is as well, because she says to do a German cast on, and I never did a German cast on, so I looked it up, and the things I found on YouTube were the German twisted cast on, and then the following videos were called German cast on, German cast on, German cast on, and I was like, okay, German twisted cast on and German cast ons, are they different or are they the same? And I looked at the different videos, and even though they were called different, they were the same instructions. So I did that, and then she has like these setup rows that I know from the Italian cast on or the tubular cast on. And I was really confused because it didn't make any sense and it wasn't looking right. And I mean, I started to knit. I only did like 5 rows or something, and it just looked like shit, basically. And I was confused. And I tried to look at other projects and look at all the colors, how people did it, and it is kind of like a 50-50. You definitely see that some people did the German twisted cast on and some people did the Italian cast on, and I was confused. And in the comment section on Ravelry, you can because people were more there's no confusion really about the collar, but people are confused about the German short rows, which I found really clear and not confusing, to be honest. But there are comments that there are instruction videos for the German short rows, and I was like, okay, there are instruction videos, because nowhere in the pattern it says something about instruction videos. And I googled her instruction videos, and actually until you knit only the raglan increases, also basically from the cast on until the German short rows, so everything that is a little bit more difficult, you have instruction videos from her on YouTube. But there is no she doesn't refer to it in the pattern or anywhere else. She doesn't refer to it on her website. She doesn't refer to it in the pattern. So how should you know it? Only if you look into the Ravelry comments, you know about it. And I think that, first of all, that's very bad marketing. And second of all, then you actually see in her cast on method that she's doing the Italian cast on. And also, if you download the Danish, or in the title of the cast on, it says Italiansk, which is probably the Danish word for Italian cast on. And also how I would do, because in the end, before I watched that video, I just did the Italian cast on, because the next two setup rows that she described are the setup rows for Italian cast on. And also how I was understanding how the collar should look like. I was like, okay, a tubular cast on is the right cast on for it, or Italian cast on. And I don't know, maybe there is, because with all these terms for these cast-ons and bind-ons and bind-offs and stuff like that, maybe there is an area where you also call it a German cast-on, but I never heard of it. And if you look up instructions, I never heard of the German cast-on also referring to the Italian cast-on and the tubular cast-on. It is very confusing. And also, I don't know, why would you, when you call it in German and Danish, the Italian cast on, why would you call it in English the German cast on? It is really confusing. It doesn't make any sense because it is an English term. Why would you call it then the German cast on? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, sometimes things don't make sense, but this seems very unlogic. So that was the only complicated part of the pattern. Also, you do like double, where can you see it? I don't know, it might be very dark, but you do like double decreases. These are actually nicer. So that you get like this decrease line for the collar. So it cinches in here, and the way she described it, it didn't make any sense to me. So I just Googled on YouTube double decreases, and I actually found a video the first video that popped up was the one, I think, by Brooklyn Tweed, and I found the explanation really useful, and I just did it the way they did it, and it worked out perfectly. The German short row section I found really intuitive. I had no questions about it. Some other people had problems with it, but if you know it, she has tutorials for everything of it. So you just, I mean, they are in Danish, the same as PetiteKnits, but I don't think if you have video tutorials, you don't need the spoken words for it. So I think it's all right but you need to know that there are videos because it is not referred to it in the pattern. So yeah, but after the collar, it was what is it, like sailing through? No, there's like a saying, but yeah, it just went like really really fast through. Really enjoying it. It is really fast because it's on 5mm needles, and this is like the Peruvian Highland wool with the mohair. It's really thick yarn. And yeah, I'm really considering if I want one for myself, because first of all, it's a fast knit, and I think especially with the collar, it's a cool look. So maybe there's one in the future for myself. What else is on my needles? Actually, I think that's all on my needles, because the next thing I want to knit, I didn't make it, or I wasn't able to cast it on because I wanted to block my Bauhaus sweater before. And The next thing I want to cast on is the twist loop neck, and I actually swatched for it already. And so yeah, we are already in my knitting plans. And so yeah, the twist loop neck by Otherloops, I think I mentioned it before that I want to knit it, and I want to knit it with Hilde's Wolle. That's why is it blurring out so much? So yeah, that's the wool of the sponsored sheep that I got for my birthday from all of my friends. And yeah, I have around 800 meters of it, so it is not enough really for a sweater. And I thought about doing like a cabled vest, but actually I think the I really have use for this twist loop neck, as first of all it's also cabled and I really like the look of it, but also I think it's really cool because it is like extra layer, but you can wear it to everything. You can wear it over everything. It's not like yeah, it's like an outerwear piece. It's like a hat or a scarf, so I think it's very useful. And even though in the past I thought they are useless because I thought like, why not knit a whole garment? But now I understand the hype around them. So I swatched and this is how it's looking. It is supposed to be knit on 5.5 millimeter needles. I couldn't meet gauge with that. I actually could meet gauge, but it didn't look good. It was very holy, and I went down a lot of needle sizes, basically on down to a 4 millimeter. Why is this blurring out so much? It's not even sunny outside. In the end I went down to a 4 millimeter needle size, and I think the gauge is 7 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I'm with like aggressively blocking 18 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I think I'm alright with that. I'm still considering if I might just cast on a few more stitches, or it just doesn't matter because it's an open thing. So if it's a little bit shorter, it doesn't really I don't really mind it, because I think it's already quite wide for a small person like me. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. I considered if I need to hold it with a mohair, but I don't really want to buy extra mohair for it again. And also, I think you can see it has already a really strong halo. So I don't really see the purpose of adding extra halo, except for meeting gauge. But what I might do, because even though this is a rustic Northern European breed, and though this wool is rustic, I mean, I can wear this to my neck, but it is not the most pleasant thing, I would say, and especially because it has a turtleneck element. I would like to have a cozy turtleneck element to it. And I have a lot of this drops brushed alpaca silk left over from all of the Cardigan No. 4s. So what I think I will do, I will just knit the inside of the turtleneck in this drops brushed alpaca silk, and the outside I will just knit in this. And I think they're very close in color, and I mean it's just the inside. So and this is like the softest you can imagine, excuse me. And so yeah, I think therefore I don't have immediate contact with this rustic wool, but still this has this amazing stitch definition that you actually need for the cables, and at the same time it also will give you the warmth and the will keep the wind and the water out, because yeah, it is kind of a outerwear accessory, and but you will have the softness and the warmth on the inside as well. So I think this is a great combination, and also it will use up scraps. So yeah, I already downloaded the pattern and looked up how I cast on, and yeah, this is actually the first time I will knit cables on a bigger pattern. I knitted cables for a dog jumper before and I made a few mistakes there, so I hope I will get it right this time. And yeah, I'm really looking forward on having this accessory because I think I actually need it here. I think, yeah, since we have 3/4 of the year it's windy, I think something that is higher up, a turtleneck, and covers my chest area, that is not a scarf, because I only have one scarf, is very useful, and I will have a lot of wear out of it. So yeah, this is basically next, and I will basically cast this on next week or next weekend, when I will finish the cardigan of my sister, depending how fast I will finish the sleeves. I don't know how much knitting time I have during this week because we are busy at work. The next thing I want to knit is a vest, but not a typical vest, but a button vest. And I saw this on Rosa Pomar's Instagram, and it's the, excuse my Portuguese, obviously I don't speak it, Burgos, I have no idea how to say that, Burgos vest. I will insert the name. And yeah, it's a buttoned vest, and since I love buttons now, I thought, okay, this is perfect. I can order buttons again, but I don't need to knit a cardigan. And also it uses up an amount of yarn that I still have left over, and it's also kind of a scrappy project because in her version she combines a lot of like scraps and has like a melange, a marbled look. I think I'm not going for that, but I will also combine colors, I think. And I'm not 100% sure how I will in the end combine it. But what I'm planning on using is the BC Garn Semilla Melange in the denim color, because I still have nearly 2 full skeins left over. And I also have this Rico design mohair left, and this is the exact amount mohair, amount of mohair that I need for the Semilla Melange. So I thought, okay, I could do a vest with this, but it's not really enough for a whole vest. I think this is around 320 meters or something. But I also have this of the halibut sweater left, and this is also nearly a full skein. So this in combination, it is a full vest. I think it's around 450 meters or something. And I could knit this with 5 or 5.5 millimeter needles. And I also have, from a very old project, Mayflower Kit Silk Mohair from vest I knitted last spring. So I thought, okay, this is actually perfect for that vest by Rosa Pomar. And yeah, I don't know if I will do like stripes or color block, or if I just do like a blue vest with beige edges, or if I do like some color work in it. I don't know yet, but I thought it would be lovely to do like some wooden buttons on it. And yeah, I'm really up for it. First of all, I thought maybe it's boring because these are the exact same colors I used for my halibut sweater, but I like the colors of my halibut sweater a lot. And then I thought, like, if I like it, why not do it again? it's a color I like and I wear and I use, so, and I already have in stash, why not use it again in that combination? There's nothing wrong with it. I also try to prioritize my knits for the rest of the year, and when I discovered that I really like this red hat, I also thought about having a red jumper, but not a plain red jumper, but a red jumper that is red and cream colored striped. And I went through the Knitting for Olive pattern site and found the Samsø Pullover by Knitting for Olive, and it's a fingering weight jumper, and I really like the classical striped beach maritime look of it. And I think this, in this red, it would be perfect, and I think it would look great in my wardrobe, especially because I have so much beige and jeans colored stuff. But I don't think I have use for a fingering weight jumper. So I'm considering if I can adapt it to a double Sunday pattern or a double Sunday yarn, but this might not be happening until May or something. But yeah, that's also on my mind, so I will insert a picture of the yarn. Another thing I did, even though I am not buying yarn right now, and it has worked very good so far, I haven't bought any yarn in February, and so far half of March I haven't bought anything as well. So, but I acquired new yarn, and that actually happened through Leni from Tales from the White Cottage. She has a really long podcast name, and yeah, she also has a podcast on YouTube. If you don't watch her podcast yet, I will leave her information in the description notes. And she commented on my last podcast that she really liked the pink radish mini skeins of my Advent calendar, and she really seemed to love them, and I liked them, but I wasn't really loving them. And then I thought, like, if she loves them so much, I should just give them to her. And because I wasn't really attached to them, and I think yarn like that should be loved and not liked. And so I wrote to her on Instagram if she would like to have them, and at the same time she got an order in on her podcast episode from Novita yarns, and they have like plastic free sock yarn, like nylon free sock yarn, and they actually made a mistake on her order and put in yellow yarn, and she doesn't like yellow, but I love yellow. And so I suggested that we swap yarn, and she gets my mini skeins and I get her yellow yarn instead. And yeah, she agreed and was happy about that as well. And so we swapped yarns, and now I have this yellow yarn. It's blurring out quite a lot. It's more, this is like really, really yellow, but I think it's more like a sunflower yellow. Yeah, this is more accurate. And yeah, I'm really happy. I have never knitted with this brand as well, so this color is not accurate. So it's a very warm sunflower yellowy. So yeah, it's actually more like this box. Maybe I need to color correct this video in the end. So yeah, it's the brand label. So if you watch her podcast, you already seen that. Yeah, it's 100 gram. It's a DK weight sock wool. Like I said, it has no nylon or anything in it, and it's actually, what's really interesting, instead of a nylon thread, it has tencel in it, so lyocell to strengthen it, and I think that's really interesting. I have some garments with lyocell or tencel, so, but I've never knitted with it, so it's really interesting. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm really gonna knit socks with it or if I do something else, but I'm happy because yellow, I have so much yellow already in my yarn stash. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that yellow? I don't know, but there's so much yellow. So yeah, yellow makes me very happy. So, and I think it's a really cool way to to grow your yarn stash, or to change your yarn stash up, or yeah, I think there is no second-hand stores with yarn in my area, and I think it's not very common, or these date sales that you have in the US. So I think sometimes you can find through eBay Kleinanzeigen in Germany a yarn, or you can like auction yarn through eBay, but it's like often you don't know what you're auctioning for. So, and I don't really want to get like scraps of yarn. I already have enough scraps of yarn. Through eBay Kleinanzeigen you often can find like sweater quantities or bigger amounts of yarn, which is more interesting, but often people don't know anymore what the yarn brand is or stuff like that. So that's also a risk you take. But swapping yarn with friends and stuff like that is actually a really cool solution. And I also got yarn, like the yarn stash of my grandmother, or some parts of it which I liked, and the other parts I gave to a secondhand store. So I think these are really sustainable and thoughtful ways to and also budget-friendly ways to grow your yarn stash, or to get more yarn if you are on a budget, or to think about the environment. For example, I am giving away on this weekend these two. They are the same as the brushed alpaca silk, and I ordered them last summer, thinking I would knit the cardigan number 4 maybe in this color, in one of these colors, but I didn't like both of them, and I just ordered one skein of each to try out the colors. And I actually found a friend who likes the colors, and I think you can knit an accessory with these, and this is nice yarn. So then I would desperately try to find a project to knit with this, because this is not my color palette at all, and so why not give it to someone who would actually enjoy it. And especially with special yarns, I would like really need to it would have taken me so much brain power and so much time to find projects for these mini skeins, these red mini skeins. And if someone is really excited about them, why not give them to someone who's excited about them? I think that's so much nicer, and I don't know, I also think that's calmer. And at the end, I would like to give some podcast recommendations. And these are not new podcasts to me. I think I found them in January, yeah, I think so. And one I found just recently. But to say is there are different reasons for watching different podcasters for me. Some I watch for entertainment reasons, some I watch for inspiration, some I watch for knitting patterns, some for yarn inspiration, some I watch for the vlogs. They are really different reasons for me. I don't know in what category I fall for you guys, but I found a few in January, which I really look forward to when they come out with videos. And one is Bronte. I think that's how you say her name, Bronte Swanwick. And I really like her style. I follow her on Instagram as well. I think generally she wears overalls and dungarees, and that's always something I can relate to because I have a lot of them as well. And I really like the things she knits, and because it is not only PetiteKnit and my favorite things knitwear, because this is not something I take inspiration from, because that's also already always on my Instagram, so I don't need to watch podcasts for that. And I also like the yarns she chooses, and the colors and the cuts and everything, so I really recommend it. And she also does a lot of stationery videos. That is not my cup of tea, but I just watch her knitting videos. She does sometimes vlogs as well, and yeah, I just enjoy her style and her aesthetic, and I'm really looking forward to her videos. Also, she's knitting the PetiteKnit sweater, and she's way ahead of me, and she did a recent video about choosing colors for that one, so I found that really interesting. Another one I found in January was Jessica Faith Cooper, and she does a lot of vlog style videos. I don't know if she even has like typical podcast videos, and I think she's a singer or actress, and she's also based in the UK, and I just enjoy her really relaxed style of vlogging, with some knitting like here and there. And for example, is it the Merit cardigan, I think? She's knitting that with the BC Garn Semilla Melange, which I found really interesting because it's also color work, but much more advanced color work in comparison to the halibut sweater. Yeah, but I just find her way of vlogging really relaxing, and find her projects also really relaxing, and her take on knitting really nice. And yeah, sometimes I find podcasts or regular podcasts really intense, because I mean, I do them the same way, but you're like, it is, yeah, it's intense. There's a lot of information coming to you with like, I did this, and there's like this yarn, and I did this, and so many meters, and this is the information, and that, yeah, it's a lot to take in. And sometimes like a vlog here and there, it's really nice. So yeah, I enjoy her content a lot. When I discovered her, I think I watched back her last 10 videos or something, so that says a lot. And during my Cornwall holiday research, I found a really cool podcast which is called Stitches and Cream, and they are run by, or it is run by, a middle-aged lady, which is the owner of the same called yarn shop Stitches and Cream, which is based in Falmouth, where I'm going for my Cornwall holiday, which is basically what I'm planning my holiday around, because I was a little bit overwhelmed with holiday planning and said, okay, I'm just starting at a yarn shop. And yeah, I really enjoy her podcast. She only has like, I think 3 episodes out or something, and I really enjoy her take of a different age group, and I think she does a really good job. And I think it's very popular because it is a different age group she's talking to as well, but still it's very modern, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I definitely subscribe to her channel and will continue watching it. And yeah, so these are my recommendations. I will leave all the information in the descriptions notes, and yeah, I will insert definitely pictures of my sister and my friend wearing their cardigans, and me wearing my Bauhaus sweater. And yeah, I hopefully see you next time with some spring. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, my alarm went off because I'm meeting with my colleagues now to go to a sheep cafe here in my area, just a 15-minute drive. And yeah, it's something we have here because we have so many sheep. And yeah, and I'm hoping to see some lambs, because I think it is lamb season already. And yeah, they have like a coffee and cafe area. They have also a playground area for kids, because the kids of my co-worker comes with us as well. And they also have a yarn section, so I'm really tempted, but I'm not buying yarn until May. So my co-worker is also the one who has the spinning class, so she said like, okay, just getting inspiration but not buying anything. but I will try to film some footage and maybe insert it at the end if I'm still being able to export this video. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to do a little trip and spend some time with my co-workers and see some of the area around where I'm living, because I still haven't seen much of it. And even though I just started snowing, so it doesn't feel very springy, even though there are baby lambs being born. So yeah, with that, I'll leave you, and yeah, happy knitting, guys.